Today's subject is going to be Nvidia and what is happening specifically with overall spend. Because the question about last week, the week before that was DeepSeek. Is it reducing the cost to run these chips, the AI and the data centers, etc.? Now, I think, again, we're not talking about how that was all mostly fraudulent from China. They've been banned. They literally crashed the whole system after one day because it couldn't handle anyone using it, meaning there probably wasn't that many people using it in the first place when it was working efficiently, right? We haven't really heard anything since then. Now, what we have seen since then is what's happened from earnings, and earnings tell us a lot. And it's not just Nvidia's earnings. So Nvidia has not even reported yet. I believe they will report. If you go to Earning Whispers, you can actually see, and I recommend using Earning Whispers. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's just a really cool tool. If you wait till the day of like a big earnings, it'll probably crash the site, just to let you know. But Nvidia's earnings are on the 26th. It's the most accurate earnings information you'll get out there, in my personal opinion, okay? So Nvidia reports on the 26th, but I think going into the 26th and still right now, it's still one of the biggest opportunities. So why? Number one, we're not even going to talk about the Blackwell chips just yet. We're going to talk about why you have so much momentum and why when you go back to Nvidia stock, is it moving like this to where you're bouncing basically on repeat. So if we'll just get rid of all of our drawings. You see down here, this is the green line's your 200 weekly or daily moving average. And again, it's worth mentioning that this is the first time that you've come into your 200 daily moving average since January of 2023. So this is a pretty great opportunity if you ask me. And again, we're going to dive a little bit deeper, but again, you're still above that level, mounting back above 123. Now you're at 134. You're cooking, right? Also, too, I want to shout out right now, if you are interested in Discord, just to let you know, it is available. The link is down below. If you want to go with the starter plan, you get the technicals, things we're looking at throughout the day. We traded AVGO today, but another one of the biggest trades as of recently was Nvidia. To give you guys for instance, we bought this on going back. That's the 6th. We grabbed Nvidia 130 strikes for around $4. You can go look at the price of those right now. They're probably up like 60 to 70% as we speak. But anyways, that link is down below if you're interested. So looking at Nvidia, what's happening here? You're bouncing, you're moving very good. And the market's kind of choppy back and forth the past few days. And so what's happening there is very, very simple. We can discuss this clearly. It's the earnings that came in on this. And it's not just Nvidia's, another name, we'll talk about that as well. You go and you look at Amazon, right? Amazon up their spending overall to $100 billion expected this year on their CapEx spend and what's happening with AI, data centers, etc. So they're spending more money than ever. They're increasing. So everyone thought that revenue and spend towards Nvidia would drop. It's risen. Okay, it's rising. Not just one company. You have Meta announced this past week. They upped it, I think, from 55 to 65 billion there. We all know Zuck's been going crazy with it. And then also, too, you have what's happening, I believe, with Google. I don't have Google on here right now, but Google increased their spend as well. And it's worth mentioning the two companies that are getting the most out of this are Nvidia, and then you also have Broadcom. Those are your two big winners here, in my opinion. Google spending in here as well. Okay, so that's the biggest thing right now. So Nvidia, AVGO, Broadcom. So if you're looking at semiconductors, those are your big names. Those are the ones you have to be watching, in my opinion. Now, the question is what is this going to do for the stock? Okay, so if you watch my previous videos going over AMD, going over these other semiconductor companies, right? The defining factor between Nvidia and these other names, and people like to say that Nvidia is overextended, it's a bubble, it's this, it's that, whatever it may be. Let's just look at the facts. And again, you can go look at the earnings for yourself. So just really quickly, just so you can see the revenue growth and what's happening here, and it's probably not going to slow down. So just looking at revenue, we'll just bring them all up for the past 4 earnings. Your earnings continue to really print. So 1 year ago from today, 22 billion on earnings. Okay. The next earnings, 26 billion, 30 billion, 35 billion. And you're going to report here in the next 2 weeks, give or take. So just as of right now, you're looking to be up 100% year over year on revenue. Not to mention the margins that Nvidia has on their products are insane. Like they're sitting at around between 73 on the low on that's their worst to 75% on all their products. That's absurd. The other part of this, which is what I haven't even really discussed yet, is what's happening here on the Blackwell chip. Now, the Blackwell chip was the most hyped thing about NVIDIA because Jensen's talked about it so much. Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, has talked about the overall demand, the pre-sales of the product, and when you look at their past earnings, the letdown from some of these earnings that really, I mean, you can see, even though you're smashing on earnings, you dropped a little bit there. You kind of popped here. That was back in May of last year. More recently, kind of a little stall there. But the concern here for around earnings was they couldn't get their manufacturing for the Blackwell chips down. And now they're in full production. They were in full production as of last earnings, and now you're going to see increased revenue spend coming in on the Blackwell chips, which is their most expensive and their flagship product right now. So the question is how much does it really increase? Now, in my opinion, just coming in at 40 billion is a huge win overall. And again, the other part of this is when you look at something like the PE ratio here, because everyone loves talking about PE ratios. NVIDIA is overvalued. It's this, it's that. And the reality is it's not. This is just the reality of the situation. That NVIDIA, if you look at a PE ratio, fullratio.com is what the free one if you want to use it. It's getting more and more affordable. And this was another thing that I've been mentioning on my videos is that NVIDIA continues to get more affordable. The PE ratio is actually dropping. Even as the stock is rising, NVIDIA's PE ratio is dropping overall. I mean, ideally, where you love to buy a stock that's just like a long-term name is around 30 to 40, give or take. But NVIDIA, you're still looking at it from that lens in the AI sector that you still have crazy overall growth because it's still the hottest sector out there. You're seeing companies, again, like Amazon, Google, Meta, spending billions and billions of dollars all on this specific niche product of what's happening here. So it's very important to understand that all the money is still flowing into the sector. And if there's one sector with a quote-unquote recession still going on, the market's struggling, again, this is the sector that's just getting money flowing in and in. So I still think NVIDIA is still the premier stock out there right now. And as long as you're holding above this 200 daily moving average there, I don't know how you could be bearish. Now, do I think there's a world in which NVIDIA runs to $200, over the next 3 months? Probably not. That's probably not going to happen. Do I think you're going to have another explosive run from 48 into $100, like you double up overnight? Probably not. I mean, that wasn't overnight. It was about 2-3 weeks, but still, probably not. Do I think it's steadily going to keep going up? Do I think it's still going to beat on earnings? Yes. Do I think the price is justified where it's at based on their earnings as well? Yes. And they're on track, again, to continue the monstrous growth. And again, something to think about right here, and I think this is a much riskier name than NVIDIA, but it's like Palantir. And I made the video about them, yesterday, whatever it was, right? Palantir is moving up as a stock based on its growth and based on the expectation of growth. That's what you have to understand. NVIDIA has consistently had this growth for 2 years now. Their outlook and everything, everyone said they were falsifying, they were manipulating. Their buyers it was like a manipulated buying was happening on their products, and they've disproven all of it. Okay. And when you look at a name like and this is not me running down Palantir, so please don't take it as that. But if you're saying a name like NVIDIA is overvalued, then what is a name like Palantir? And there's a world in which they could both be overvalued. That is a possibility. The P ratio is a 521, just so you know. So it's ridiculous to say this name looks fantastic. This name couldn't be overvalued, but this name over here, NVIDIA, which is for all intensive reasons here, right? NVIDIA is, if there's the California gold rush going on, NVIDIA is the one selling the best, most durable shovels, pickaxes, wheelbarrows, everything out there, right? Palantir is a good company. Palantir looks solid, great growth overall. But NVIDIA, if I look at it, I'm like, dude, like Leaps continuously have been the best play on NVIDIA. They have continued to bring back 30 to 50% returns time and time again on all these major dips. So again, I'm still very excited. I think NVIDIA is still a monster. I think earnings season has been incredible for NVIDIA. I think that's the real winner, NVIDIA, and again, AVGO as well, which AVGO, like It doesn't get enough love, but arguably, I mean, just as good of a run as Nvidia. Like, to be honest, like an incredible run. You know, from $64 into, I mean, this was, again, I'm discounting because all I'm looking at right now is, you know, no splits, etc. But, you know, Nvidia is worth more market cap, but it went from, you know, $60 into, you know, $250, and it had a split as well. But again, that's where the big money is right now. Dude, I'm telling you, AVGO, what a recovery from 2 weeks ago. You're up almost $40 basically from lows. What a recovery. You didn't even fill the gap. Buyers are stepping in aggressively. It's not just Nvidia, it's the overall sector in which Nvidia and AVGO dominate. And the big thing to also realize here is, guess what, guys? The two of the biggest holdings in the Nasdaq, which the Nasdaq is, you know, positionally looks like it wants to hit all-time highs and break back out. Two of the biggest holdings, excluding Apple, AVGO and Nvidia. Those are two of the top dogs out there right now, which, again, AVGO Broadcom does not get enough heat. We don't mention it enough. But again, what I'm looking at, what I'm expecting, if you have questions, ask down below. The Twitter link, everything's down below as well. Have a good one, guys. See you next time.